Hi, this is Mike Hendrickson from OSCON 2015 in Portland, Oregon. I'm here with Mark Atwood. Mark, how you doing?
I'm doing well.
So you're part of the open source group at HP.
Yes, I'm in the open source programs office.
And in that group, you have some really distinguished people along with yourself.
We do.
Who else do you have joining you?
We have Eileen Evans, who has the executive oversight over the open source programs office, and she has a deep understanding of law for corporate law and for IP law and for open source. Also at HP, we have some very talented people such as Allison Randall and Badale Garby.
With the talent you guys have at HP, what are you doing with it? What are you applying your talents towards?
So HP is very heavily involved with the Linux Foundation, and we are heavily involved with the OpenStack Foundation. HP Cloud and HP Helion are big things inside the company. We're heavily involved with the Cloud Foundry Foundation. We're incorporating that into Helion. And then we just also recently got involved with the new R Foundation, the new Container Institute. I start listing all of the organizations and foundations we're part of, and I lose track of them all.
So is HP building a enterprise cloud open system?
We are. We call it HP Helion, and it is designed to be enterprise cloud at whatever level you need it to be, from personal to public to enterprise to hybrid, incorporating both the infrastructure parts of OpenStack and the platform layers of Cloud Foundry.
So I hear a lot of companies saying, though, that they're doing this similar thing. Mm-hmm. They have the private, the public, the hybrid,
yes,
open source mixed in with it. Why are you guys different than the other commodity brokers or cloud vendors?
I think part of it is HP's a trusted name. We're working with the people who have already come to trust HP and who are already buying hardware from HP and buying support and services from HP. So extending out to putting cloud on that trust platform and on that physical platform just makes sense.
Okay, and so large enterprises that you work with,
yes,
do you see them challenged with transitioning to more of an open source model? Because using open source tools is one thing, mm-hmm, but having the mindset of developing like in an open source culture, is that more of a challenge for these companies?
I think it's a challenge for all companies. Fortunately, more and more companies are coming around to the open source way of development and becoming more trustful of consuming open source software, and more of them are themselves becoming open source contributors, both to the projects that they and HP are involved in together and in other projects that they produce and consume. Sometimes some of them do come to HP saying, you seem to be good at this open source thing, can you help us understand how to do that? And then I also see those partner companies coming to places like OSCON to get more understanding of how to do open source.
So do you see the use of inner source, like actually changing the way a company does their business?
I do. I'm seeing that in more companies, and it's happening inside HP as well. We're working towards a system where internal corporate proprietary software development inside the company still follows the same model of visibility, of peer review, of information sharing, information exchange, and open discussion.
So someone mentioned today in one of the keynotes that if you know you're developing a product and it's going to be open source, that you write your code much better. Mm-hmm. And I kind of thought, holy shit, really? You have a different mindset because it's publicly released? Is that what you see as well?
That's what I see, and that's what I experience myself when I write code. If I know it's open source, there's this voice in the back of my head saying, everyone's going to see this. Take a little bit more care.
Because they're going to rip into it if it's not good or not working? Or
people have gotten very good, and the open source community has gotten very good at being kind and being understanding, but still knowing that other people are going to may have to use it if you're successful, and other people will see it does make you do a better job.
So I always thought that was part of just writing good software, is that you write something the best you can, you document it well, and it stands on its legs.
You would like to think so, and we'd all like to think so, but between the constraints of time pressures, budgetary pressures, and then the standard hubris of all developers at all levels, where we like to try to write the code at the limit of our abilities. We often write code beyond the limit of our abilities. So
community will help there, definitely.
The community will help there, definitely.
Yeah. So do you see also the use of open source in enterprises as a way to build a larger ecosystem and community around products and around services that companies have?
I do. The open source development model builds connections and relationships between people, users and developers developers across companies. You will often form a whole community of developers who can follow each other from company to company. As different companies' priorities change, a project can live through that. Developers have a safer way to move around and a safer way to keep working on projects. And this actually paradoxically makes things better for the companies as well, because it gives a project more longevity and more depth, which makes it a safer corporate bet.
So there's a saying that the CFO says to a CEO, what if we train all of our people on a technology and they leave? And the CEO says back, what if we don't and they stay? Mm-hmm. Doesn't that also apply to open source, that if your people are working with open source, it makes you as an organization more flexible because people can come and go easier?
I would say that's a very accurate way of saying that. It was mentioned earlier in the keynotes this morning that open source has become somewhat of a table stakes. So companies have to play it even if their C-level or deep DNA don't lend themselves to it. But as they play in the open source world, they will become more open source companies. They will become more open. And I think not just for the technology development and the products of the company, it will actually make the company itself a stronger and better company, and more able to attract talent, more able to retain talent, more able to grow talent.
So Mark, I'm going to put a crystal ball on the table here.
All right. Tell
me what's going to happen in 12 months with HP and open source.
HP is going to continue with our commitment with open source. In under 12 months, HP will be splitting in half between HP Enterprise and HP Inc. And both of those companies are going to retain HP's deep DNA and deep commitment to open source. I myself am going with HP Enterprise. I know the people in the open source organizations who are going to HP Inc., and it's in good hands.
Okay, so that's happening in the next 12 months or so?
It's, I think day one is in August, so it's actually less than a few months away.
Excellent.
And then the two companies will continue on with our participation with open source, with the Open Source Foundations, and our long and happy history with O'Reilly.
Excellent. So we will connect with you guys in Austin, Texas?
Yes.
In less than 12 months?
In less than 12 months, in May. We will be there.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Mark.
Thank you.